Dr. Kim Hannah looked through the small window of the shuttle. Below her, the planet Kepler 442c stretched like a green and brown carpet. Strange trees with silver leaves moved in the alien wind. She had been studying space creatures for 10 years, but this planet was new. Everything here was different from Earth. "Landing in 5 minutes," said Lieutenant Park Ju-won from the pilot's seat. His hands moved quickly over the controls. The shuttle shook a little as they went through the thick clouds. Behind Hannah, engineer, Choi Min-ho checked his tools. He was a big man with kind eyes. Next to him sat Lee Daeon, their communications officer. She was young, but very smart with computers and radio signals. "Remember," Hannah said to her team, "we are here to study, not to take anything. This planet might have life we have never seen before." The shuttle landed with a soft bump. The window, Hannah could see a forest of tall, twisted trees. The air outside looked clear, but they would wear their breathing masks, just to be safe. "Readings look good," Min-ho said, looking at his screen. "Air is breathable. Gravity is almost like Earth." They opened the shuttle door and stepped outside. The ground was soft under their feet. Strange bird-like creatures flew between the trees, making musical sounds. Everything seemed peaceful. Hannah walked toward the forest with her scanner in her hand. The device beeped softly as it found new forms of life. Small creatures moved in the bushes. She could see their heat signatures on her screen. "This is amazing," she said quietly. "Look at all this life." For 2 hours, they collected samples and took pictures. Daeon set up a communication antenna to send data back to their main ship, the New Soul, which waited in space above them. Then everything changed. A shadow passed over them. Hannah looked up and saw a large, dark ship above the trees. It was not human-made. The ship was long and sharp, like a giant knife. Strange symbols covered its hull. "That's not one of ours," Guan said, his voice tight with worry. The alien ship landed hard, breaking several trees. A door opened with a hissing sound. Smoke came out, and then they saw them. The creatures that came out were tall, maybe 7 feet high. They walked on 2 legs like humans, but their skin was dark green and covered with scales. Their heads were long and narrow like snakes. Yellow eyes watched the humans with cold interest. "Vorthok," Daeon whispered. She had studied the alien races. "They are hunters. They capture other species for sport." The lead creature spoke in a voice that sounded like breaking glass. "Humans. How interesting. We have heard stories about your kind." 6 of them moved toward the human team. They carried weapons that looked like energy rifles. Their movements were quick and smooth, like deadly dancers. "Run," Hannah said quietly to her team. Gi-won grabbed his sidearm, but the aliens were faster. Blue energy bolts hit the ground around them. One bolt hit close to Min-ho, and he fell backward. "Go!" Hannah shouted. "Get back to the shuttle." Ju-won and Min-ho ran toward their ship, pulling Daeon with them. But Hannah was furthest from the shuttle. As she ran, she felt something hot hit her leg. She fell hard on the soft ground. The lead Vorthok walked over to her. Up close, she could see his sharp teeth and the way his forked tongue moved when he spoke. "Dr. Kim Hannah," he said, reading from a device. "Xenobiologist. You study alien life. How perfect. Now you will become part of our collection." 2 other Vorthok picked her up. Their claws were sharp, but they did not hurt her badly. They wanted her alive. "Commander Sektar," one of them said in their hissing language. Hannah's translator device was still working, so she understood them. The other humans escaped to their shuttle. Sektar, the leader, watched as the human shuttle lifted off quickly. "Let them go. This one is enough for now. Besides, they will try to rescue her. Humans are foolish that way." They carried Hannah to their ship. Inside, everything was dark and smelled like old metal. Walls were covered with strange marks and symbols. They put her in a small room with metal bars. The cell was not empty. In one corner sat a small, furry creature with large, frightened eyes. It looked like a cross between a rabbit and a deer. In another corner, a bug-like creature with 6 arms sat very still. Its shell was bright blue. "Welcome to Sektar's collection," the furry creature said in broken English. "I am Velthar of the Quilani people. says Kexman of the Zephyrhites. The bug creature, Kexman, made a clicking sound. New meat for the arena games, it said sadly. Arena games? Hannah asked. Velthar's ears drooped. They make us fight their pets. Big, hungry animals. Most of us die quickly. The Vorthok think it is fun to watch. Hannah looked around the cell carefully. Oh, she noticed everything. The lock on the door, the cameras watching them, the small air vent near the ceiling. Her mind began to work. Outside the cell, she could hear the Vorthok talking and laughing. They were excited about their new prize. Human female, one of them said. I have heard they are weak. Soft skin, no claws, small teeth. They will not last. Long in the arena, that is what makes it amusing, another replied. They think they are intelligent, but they are just another prey animal. Sektar's voice was clearest. Prepare the arena. Tomorrow, we will see how long this human can survive against a Ravik. The betting pools will be very active. Hannah sat down. On the cold floor, the other prisoners looked at her with pity. They thought she would be dead soon, but Hannah was not thinking about dying. She was thinking about living. She was studying her captors, learning their habits, planning her next move. The Vorthok thought humans were weak prey animals. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In space above the planet, the new soul moved through the darkness. On the bridge, Juan stared at the alien ship's location on his screen. Sir, Dayon said quietly, command says we should return to Earth space. They say Dr. Hannah is lost. Jiwan's hands tightened on his controls. No human left behind, he said. We're getting her back. The hunt was about to begin. On the new Sol, Lieutenant Park Jifuan could not sleep. He walked the empty halls of the ship, thinking about Dr. Hannah. Command had sent 3 messages telling him to return to Earth. Each time, he deleted them without reading them fully. Engineer. Choi Min-ho found him in the weapons storage room. Guan was looking at their mining charges, small bombs they use to break rocks on planets. What are you doing? Min-ho asked. These charges, Juan said, holding up a small metal cylinder. Can you make them into weapons? Min-ho's eyes grew wide. You want to fight the Vorthok ship, Juan? They have real weapons. We just have a research. Vessel Dr. Hannah would do the same for us, Jiwan said quietly. You know she would. Min-ho was quiet for a long moment. Then he picked up one of the charges. I can modify these, make them explode when we want them to, but it will take time. In the communication room, Lee Dayon was working at her computer. She had been listening to Vorthok radio signals for hours. Her eyes were red from staring at the screen. Any luck? Jiwan asked when he found her. Some, Dayon said. Their security is not as good as they think. I can hear some of their internal communications. They are planning something called arena games for tomorrow. Guan's face grew dark. What kind of games? They make prisoners fight their animals. For entertainment. Dayon's voice was angry. They think Dr. Hannah will die quickly. They don't. Know her very well, Juwan said. On the Vorthok ship, Hannah had been watching and learning for many hours. She noticed that the guards changed every 6 hours, saw that they carried their weapons loosely, not expecting trouble from prisoners. She counted the cameras and found the blind spots. The Quillinya Velthor watched her with curious eyes. You are different from stories we heard about humans, he said. What stories? Hannah asked. That humans are prey animals, weak, afraid of everything? Velthar's ears twitched. But you do not smell afraid. The bug-like Kexman made clicking sounds. Fear makes good flavor for Vorthok food, it said. But you smell wrong to them. They are confused. Hannah smiled a little. Good. Confusion is useful.
Ow.
A loud horn sounded through the ship. Heavy footsteps came down the hall. 3 Vorthok guards stopped at their cell. Feeding time, one said, throwing chunks of strange meat through the bars. Eat well. Tomorrow, you fight for your lives. The other prisoners grabbed the food quickly. They were very hungry, but Hannah ate slowly, thinking. Tell me about this Ravik, she said to Velthar. The furry alien's ears drooped. Big predator, twice as tall as you. Sharp teeth, powerful claws, fast, very fast. How many prisoners has it killed? Many. Maybe 30. Maybe more. Velthor's voice was sad. It likes to play with prey before killing. Everything has weaknesses, Hannah said. Even predators. Made a noise like laughing, but bitter. Easy words. Hard to do when you are running for your life. Hours passed. The ship grew quiet as the Vorthok slept. Ah! But Hannah did not sleep. She was planning. When morning came, the guards returned. They opened the cell door and pointed their weapons at the prisoners. Time for games, one said. Human first. Put metal bands around Hannah's wrists and ankles. She did not fight them. Not yet. They led her through the ship to a large room. It was like a stadium, with seats around a big open space. Many Vorthoks sat in the seats, making excited hissing sounds. They held betting devices, placing money on how long she would survive. In the center was a circular arena with high walls. The floor was covered with sand. Dark stains showed where others had died. Commander Sektar stood on a platform above the arena. Honored hunters, he announced to the crowd. Today we test a new species. Humans claim to be intelligent. We shall see if intelligence helps when facing a Ravik. The crowd hissed with excitement. They pushed Hannah down into the arena. The sand was soft under her feet. Around the edge were bones and pieces of metal remains from previous fights. Any last words, human? Sektar called down. Hannah looked up at him. Just one question. Has your Ravik ever fought a human before? No, Sektar said, confused by the question. Why would that matter? You'll see, Hannah said. A large door opened on the opposite side of the arena. The crowd grew quiet with anticipation. The Ravik came out slowly. It was huge, bigger than Velthor had described. Its body was like a giant wolf, but with 6 legs and a head full of sharp teeth. Its fur was black, and its eyes were red. Scars covered its body from many fights. The creature looked at Hannah and made a low growling sound. It had seen many types of prey, but never one like this. Hannah did not run. She did not scream. Instead, she began to move sideways, always keeping her eyes on the Ravik. She picked up a sharp piece of bone from the sand. The Ravik charged, but Hannah was not where it expected her to be. She'd rolled to the side at the last second. As the creature passed by, she noticed something important. It favored its right front leg. An old injury. The crowd began to murmur. This was not how prey animals acted. The Ravik turned and charged. Again, Hannah moved. This time she stayed closer, studying how the creature moved. It was fast, but it was predictable. Like all predators, it relied on fear to make its prey stupid. Why doesn't she run? One Vorthok asked another. Something is wrong, the other replied. This human acts like a hunter. The third charge was different. This time, when the Ravik came at her, Hannah did something that shocked everyone. She charged back. At the last moment, she dropped low and drove her makeshift weapon up into the creature's injured leg. The Ravik screamed in pain and stumbled. Hannah rolled away, but she was not running. She was hunting. The crowd fell silent. In all their arena games, no prey animal had ever attacked a predator. The Ravok was angry now. It snapped at her with its huge jaws, but Hannah was always moving, always thinking. Each time it attacked, she learned more about its patterns. Then, she saw her chance. The creature lunged forward with its injured leg. For just a moment, its throat was exposed. Hannah moved faster than anyone thought possible. Her bone weapon went deep into the Ravik's neck. The great predator fell to the sand and did not get up. The arena was completely quiet. Hannah stood over the dead Ravik, breathing hard but alive. She looked up at the shocked faces of the Vorthok crowd. Next question, she called to Sektar. Has your Ravik ever been hunted before? The silence stretched on. Then, slowly, the truth began to dawn on the watching aliens. This human was not prey. This human was a predator. Commander Sektar stared down at the arena. The dead Ravik lay in the sand, dark blood spreading around it. The human female stood over it, still holding her bone weapon. She was not celebrating. She was watching the crowd, studying them. Possible, Sektar whispered. The Ravik has never been defeated. Around him, the Vorthok crowd was making nervous sounds. Some were backing away from the arena walls. Others were clicking their claws against their weapons. "Get her back to the cell," Sektar ordered his guards. "Now." But as the guards moved toward the arena, Hannah did something that made them stop. She began to speak to the other prisoners who were watching from a side gate. "Velthor," she called. To the Quilani. The creature was big, but it was stupid. It only knew how to charge straight forward. "You killed it," Velthor said, his voice full of wonder. "We can kill them too," Hannah said, loud enough for all the prisoners to hear. "But only if we work together." The guards reached her, then pointing their energy weapons at her. But they were more careful now. They kept their distance. Back in the cell, the other prisoners looked at Hannah with new eyes. Word had spread quickly through the ship. The human had killed a Ravik. No one had ever done that before. "How?" asked a small, gray creature from the planet Xeris. "How did you do it?" "I watched," Hannah said simply. "I learned. Every predator has patterns, every hunter has weaknesses." Kexman made clicking sounds with its shell. "The Vorthok are predators, too. Do they have weaknesses?" Hannah smiled. "Everything has weaknesses, even them." She began to teach the other prisoners things they had never learned. How to move as a group, how to use simple tools as weapons, how to watch and wait for the right moment to strike. "On my planet," she explained, "humans hunted animals much bigger than us. We were not the strongest. We were not the fastest. But we were smart. We worked together. We never gave up." Velthor listened carefully. "Your people were hunters." "Best hunters," Hannah said. "We hunted creatures that could kill us with one blow. But we were patient. We followed them for days. We wore them down. We made them tired and scared. Then we struck." In space, the new soul moved like a ghost through the darkness. Guan had turned off most of the ship's systems to avoid detection. They drifted closer to the Vorthok vessel. "Charges are ready," Minho reported. "I turned 12 of them into remote bombs. They will work. But we need to get close." "How close?" Jiwan asked. "Very close. Maybe 50 meters. Dayon looked up from her computers. "I have been listening to their communications. They are worried about Dr. Hannah. Some of them think she might be dangerous." "Good," Guan said. "Fear makes people make mistakes." The Vorthok ship was huge compared to the new soul. It had thick armor and powerful weapons. But Guan was not planning to fight it directly. He was planning to hunt it. "We hit and run," he explained to his crew. "Fast attacks, then we disappear. We make them tired. We make them angry. We make them scared." On the Vorthok ship, Sektar called a meeting with his science officer, Hexner. "Tell me about humans," Sektar demanded. Hexner pulled up data on his screen. Bipedal mammals. Home planet called Earth. Average height, 1.7 meters. No claws, no fangs, no natural armor. Then how did that female kill a Ravik? Hexner looked through more data. "There are reports from other worlds. Humans have been spreading through this part of the galaxy for 50 Earth years. Other species call them ... strange. Strange how? They do not behave like prey animals. They do not behave like normal predators either. They are something else." Sektar made an angry hissing sound. "Find out what they are. I want to know everything." The cell, Hannah continued to train the other prisoners. She showed them how to move quietly, how to watch for guards, how to communicate without words. "Tomorrow," she told them, "they will put more of us in the arena. But this time, we will not fight their animals. We'll fight together." A new prisoner was brought in, a tall, thin creature with 4 arms called a Netherian. It had been captured from a trading ship. "They killed my crew," the Netherian said sadly. "I am alone." "No," Hannah said firmly. "You are not alone. We're your pack now." The word pack was not translating well into the alien languages, but the meaning was clear. They were no longer individuals waiting to die. They were a group with a purpose. Hours passed. The guards changed shifts. Anna noticed that the new guards were more nervous. They kept looking at her through the bars. "They are afraid," she told the others quietly. Fear is a weapon we can use. That night, Jiwon made his first attack. The new soul came out of the darkness like a striking snake. Minho's bombs hit the Vorthok ship's sensor array. The explosion was small, but it blinded the ship's eyes. Before the Vorthok could respond, the new soul was gone again, hidden in the shadow of a nearby asteroid. Report, Sektar screamed as alarms sounded throughout his ship. Minor damage to forward sensors, a technician reported. But we could not see who attacked us. It was the other humans, Sektar said. They came back for their female. Should we prepare for battle? Sektar thought for a moment. No, let them come. When they try to rescue their packmate, we will capture them all. But the humans did not come directly. An hour later, another explosion rocked the ship. This time, it was the communication array. Then the engine cooling system. Each attack was small, but they were adding up. They are wearing us down, Hexner. Observed, like persistence hunters. What? I found more data about humans. On their home planet, they hunted by following prey for long distances. They would chase an animal until it was too tired to fight. Then they would kill it. Sektar's eyes narrowed. Are you saying they are hunting us? I think they are, Hexner said quietly. In the cell, Hannah heard the explosions and smiled. Her packmates had come for her, just as she knew they would. What was that? Belther asked, frightened by the sounds. That, Hannah said, was the sound of humans doing what humans do best. What is that? Hunting, Hannah said, and we never give up. The hunt had truly begun, and the Vorthok were about to learn that they were no longer the predators, they were the prey. Science Officer Hexner had not slept in 2 days. His computer screen showed data about humans that made his scales crawl with fear. The more he learned, the more terrified he became. Commander, he called to Sektar. You need to see this. Sektar entered the science lab. His ship had been attacked 12 times in the past day. Small explosions, system failures. Nothing major, but his crew was exhausted from constant alerts. What have you found? Sektar demanded. Hexner pointed to his screen. Human biology. Look at their eyes. The screen showed a diagram of human features. Eyes face forward. All predators. But here's the important part. They have the best distance vision in the galaxy. They can see prey from very far away. So, many predators have good eyes. But look at this. More data appeared. Humans can run for hours without stopping. Their bodies cool themselves with water that comes through their skin. No other species can do this. Sektar was getting impatient. What does this mean? It means they are persistence hunters, Commander. They do not catch prey by being faster or stronger. They chase it until it dies from exhaustion. Another alarm. Sounded the 13th attack had hit their water recycling system. On their home planet, Hexner continued, humans hunted animals called mammoths. Giant creatures with thick fur and long tusks, much bigger and stronger than humans. How did they kill them? They followed them. For days, for weeks, they threw spears and rocks, then ran away. Then they came back and did it again and again. The mammoth would try to fight, but humans would disappear. The mammoth would try to run, but humans would follow. Eventually, the mammoth would be too tired and hurt to fight anymore. Sektar stared at the screen. You are saying that humans hunted creatures to death by never stopping? Yes, and Commander. They made those creatures extinct, gone forever. Humans killed every single one. A cold feeling ran through Sektar's body. Show me more. They also hunted creatures called saber-toothed cats. Predators with teeth longer than my claws. They hunted giant bears. They hunted everything on their planet until most of the big animals were dead. The 14th attack hit their life support backup systems. But the worst part, Hexner said quietly, is that they hunted in groups. They called it pack hunting. They would surround their prey, cut off escape routes, coordinate their attacks. Like what the female is doing with our prisoners. Exactly like that. In the detention level, Hannah was teaching the prisoners something new. She had torn strips of cloth from her uniform and was showing them how to make simple signals. 1 pull means be ready, she explained. 2 pulls means attack now. 3 pulls means retreat. She had connected all the cells with these cloth strips, hidden where the cameras could not see them. Now, all the prisoners could communicate silently. But what about the guards? Asked a new prisoner, a reptilian creature called a Skorthok. We have been watching them, Belthar answered. They are tired. They make mistakes when they are tired. Hannah nodded. My packmates outside are wearing down their defenses. Soon the guards will be so tired they will not think clearly. Kexman clicked its shell. Then we strike. Then we hunt, Hannah corrected. The 15th attack came at the ship's artificial gravity generators. For 10 minutes, everything floated. In the air, the Vorthok crew struggled to move and work. They are playing with us, Sektar snarled, like cats playing with prey. No, Commander, Hexner said. Cats play for fun. Humans are doing this for a purpose. They are making us weak. How many humans are on that ship? 3, according to our sensors. 3. 3 humans are doing this to us. Yes, Commander. And there is something else you should know about human pack behavior, Sektar waited. Humans will die for their pack members. They will sacrifice themselves to save others. This is not normal behavior for intelligent species. What do you mean? Species, when faced with danger, will save themselves first. But humans will risk everything for their pack. They have a saying, no human left behind. The 16th attack knocked out their short-range communications in space. Lieutenant Jiwan studied the damage reports that Daeon had intercepted. Their systems are failing, he reported. They are making mistakes. The next attack should be on their internal security, Minho suggested. We can shut down their prison systems. Dr. Hannah will be ready, Giwan said with confidence. On the Vorthok ship. The 17th attack hit the internal security grid. All the cell doors unlocked for 30 seconds before backup power restored them, but 30 seconds was enough. Hannah had prepared for this moment. Using her cloth signals, she coordinated all the prisoners. They moved together like a single organism. The tired guards were not ready for organized resistance. Prisoners had weapons now, pieces of metal, broken. Tools, anything that could hurt. But more importantly, they had a plan. Cell Block 7 is secure, Belthar reported to Hannah. Cell Block 8 is ours too, good, Hannah said. Now we move to the next level. The Vorthok guards tried to fight back, but they were facing something they had never seen before. Prey animals were hunting them. Sektar received the reports with growing horror. How many guards have we lost? 15 dead? 23 injured? His security chief reported. The prisoners are working together. They move like a military unit. The human female is commanding them? Yes. She has turned them into an army. 18th attack from outside hit their main power grid. Half the ship went dark. Commander Hexner said urgently, I found something else about humans. Something very important. What now? They have a concept called total war. When they decide to destroy an enemy, they do not stop until that enemy is completely defeated. They will use any method, any sacrifice. They will fight until they win or die. You're saying they will? Not negotiate. Humans do not negotiate with things they consider prey. The 19th attack hit their weapon systems. In the detention level, Hannah stood over a defeated Vorthok guard captain. Around her, the freed prisoners waited for orders. The guard captain looked up at her with fear in his yellow eyes. What are you? Hannah smiled, but it was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a hunter who had cornered her prey. You called us prey animals, she said quietly. You thought we were weak because we looked soft. You thought we were stupid because we seemed gentle? She leaned closer to the terrified alien. But you made a mistake. You forgot that on every world, in every ecosystem, there is always one species that hunts all the others. One species that sits at the top of the food chain. The 20th attack shook the entire ship. We are not prey, Hannah continued. We are not regular predators either. We are something much worse. She stood up and looked around at all the watching aliens, prisoners, and guards alike. We are apex predators, and you just became our prey. Commander Sektar stood on his command bridge as another explosion shook his ship. Warning lights flashed red everywhere. Half his crew was dead or wounded. The other half was too tired to think straight. Report, he demanded. Detention levels. 4 through 7 are under prisoner control, his officer said with a shaking voice. The human female has organized them into fighting units. They are moving toward the upper levels. And the attacks from outside? 26 separate strikes. We have lost engines, weapons, life support, and communications. The human ship is still out there, waiting. Sektar made an angry hissing sound. 3 humans. 3. How are 3? Humans destroying us. Science Officer Hexner looked up from his computer. His scales were pale with fear, because they are not fighting like normal species, Commander. They are fighting like apex predators. Explain. Normal predators fight for food or territory. When they win, they stop. When they lose, they run away. But apex predators are different. They fight to eliminate threats completely. Another explosion rocked the ship. The lights went out for 10 seconds before backup power came on. Humans do not just defeat enemies, Hexner continued. They destroy them utterly. No survivors, no second chances. They call it total victory. In the lower levels of the ship, Hannah led her army of freed prisoners through the dark corridors. They moved silently, communicating with hand signals she had taught them. Each group had a job. Each prisoner knew their part. Velthor and his team secured the armory. Kexman's group took control of the engine room. The Skorthok prisoners held the main corridors. They were no longer individual creatures fighting for survival. They were a hunting pack, and Hannah was their alpha. Weapons rooms secured. Velthar reported through their stolen communication devices. Engine room is ours, clicked Kexman. Good, Hannah said quietly. Phase 2 begins now. Outside the ship, Lieutenant Jiwan watched the internal explosions through his scope. She's doing it, he said with pride. Dr. Hannah is taking their ship. From the inside, should we board now? Asked Minho. Not yet. Let them exhaust themselves fighting her forces. When they are completely worn down, then we strike. This was the human way. Patience, persistence. Never rushing in when you could let your prey defeat itself. Engineer Choi Minho had prepared a special surprise. A virus program that Daeon could upload to the Vorthok ship's computers. It would not destroy their data, but it would make their systems very, very slow. Ready when you are, Daeon said. On the Vorthok ship, Sektar was getting desperate. His species had ruled this part of space for 1,000 years. They were the hunters, they were the predators. This could not be happening. I will end this myself, he declared. Bring me my personal weapons. I will kill the human female with my own claws. Commander Hexner said urgently, I must advise against direct confrontation. Why? Because that is exactly what she wants you to do. Sektar stopped. What do you mean? Humans are not just persistence hunters, Commander. They are also ambush. Predators. They make their prey come to them. They use bait. Are you saying the female human is ... bait? I think she is drawing you into a trap. But Sektar was too angry to listen. He armed himself with his best energy weapons and headed for the detention levels. Behind him, his remaining guards followed nervously. They found Hannah in what used to be the prison control room. She stood alone, apparently unarmed. Around her, the room was dark, except for a few emergency lights. Human Sektar called out, I am Commander Sektar of the Vorthok Empire. You have caused enough trouble. Surrender now, and I will kill you quickly.
Hannah
Turned to face him. She looked small and defenseless compared to his 7-foot frame and sharp claws. Commander Sektar, she said calmly. I have been waiting for you. You should have stayed in your cage, prey animal. Hannah smiled that cold smile again. You keep using that word, prey, but I do not think you understand what it means. Tar raised his weapon. It means you are food. It means you are weak. It means you die when I say you die. No, Hannah said quietly. Prey is what gets hunted. And Commander, ... you're the one being hunted. At that moment, 3 things happened at once. The virus that Dayon had uploaded activated, making all the ship's computers run like thick mud. Emergency doors slammed shut, trapping Sektar's guards in separate rooms. Emerged from hiding places all around the control room, Sektar found himself surrounded by dozens of former prisoners, all armed with Vorthok weapons they had taken from the armory. Impossible, he whispered. You made 2 mistakes, Hannah explained as the circle of weapons pointed at him. First, you thought we were prey because we look different from you. But appearance means nothing. A tiger looks like a big cat, but it can kill a water buffalo. Sektar's weapon shook in his claws. Second mistake, Hannah continued. You thought individuals meant weakness, but humans are pack hunters. We are never really alone. The new soul docked with the Vorthok ship with a soft thump. Jiwan, Minho, and Dayon came aboard carrying their modified mining charges, Dr. Hannah. Jiwan called over the communication system. Here, she replied. Ship is secure. We have prisoners. The reunion in the control room was brief but emotional. The human crew embraced each other. Their pack was whole again. Sektar watched this display with confusion. You, ... you came back for one individual. We are humans, Jiwan said simply. We leave no one behind. But it makes no logical sense. You risked 3 lives for one. That is why you lost, Hannah said. You see individuals, we see family. The hours that followed, the freed prisoners took control of the entire ship. But something unexpected happened. When some of the alien prisoners wanted to kill all the Vorthok crew, Hannah stopped them. No, she said firmly. We are not like them. They would have killed us, protested Azaris's prisoner. Yes, but we are better than they are. We choose mercy when we have the power to destroy. Sektar stared at her. You are sparing us? We are apex predators, Hannah explained. That means we can choose. We can kill or we can protect. We can destroy or we can build. True apex predators are strong enough to show mercy. Later, as the new soul prepared to leave with the freed prisoners, Sektar spoke to Hannah one last time. I do not understand your species, he admitted. If you do, Hannah replied. We are predators who choose to be peaceful. We are hunters who protect the weak. We are killers who value life above all else. She paused at the airlock door. Remember this, Day Commander. Remember that humans could have destroyed you, but chose not to. Remember that mercy is not weakness. It is the ultimate expression of strength. The new soul departed, carrying its crew and the rescued prisoners to safety. Behind them, the damaged Vorthok ship limped toward their home space. News of what happened spread quickly through the galaxy. Other species learned that humans were not prey animals to be captured and tormented. They were something far more dangerous and far more wonderful. They were apex predators who had chosen to use their power to protect rather than dominate. Perhaps that was the most terrifying and hopeful thing of all. The hunt was over. The apex had been revealed. The galaxy would never be the same.